Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday Night Thunder Series here on FGM Acast. It is the penultimate round of the final season for 2021. And we're here at Martinsville. It's going to be a tough race based on the way qualifying is looking a short track, meaning that it's going to be congested, it's going to be tight. There may be plenty of cautions, as there will be at these shorter tracks, but it could have big championship implications, of course, with only one more round to go after this one. I'm joined tonight by Carl with the good evening, Carl.
Good evening, Stuart. Good evening, everybody. Yes, we are here at the half mile of mayhem, and I think it's going to live up to that name tonight for sure. As you said, championship-wise, it is very much a two-race rundown now, effectively, as the drop rounds have been counted. So I'll just quickly go through the championship standings. It's Hamish Gallagher in the lead, the season 1 champion, doing it again. He's in the lead, and he's in the lead by his car number 13, of course. That's 13 points over Edward Foster in second. Maddie Ray sits in third position, 20 points down. Fourth is Josh Micklemore, 25 off the lead. 37 points down, and fifth is Dave Douglas. Sixth place, we got Brenton West with 38 points off the lead. Another solid season for Brenton West. Stevie Dubstein Williams, 7th, 40 points off the lead. Gary Wellman, 8th, 43 off the lead. Ninth is JCW Joshua Carroll-Walden, 53 off the lead. He's in that joint position with Thomas Martin at the moment. So pretty close up the top end, sort of Micklemore onwards. It's pretty close. Gallagher's got a nice little bit of a lead though, and obviously a little bit of luck with the 13 there. I mean, you know, drivers superstitious sometimes, so if their number comes up, they sort of go, yep, this is probably a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all to play for here tonight, and in practice you can see there Edward Foster and Hamish Gallagher separated by 2 100ths. So, or 2 tenths I should say. So that's going to be nice and close. Of course, practice and qualifying, two completely separate animals here, but given the length of this track, you'd figure that there's a bit of synchronised spinning for you early on.
Yeah, the problem...
Go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say the problem when you spin here is it's such a tight track that it's a bit like a street course. Where you spin and you block half the track, so it's very hard to avoid a wreck if something like that happens, especially up the front of the pack.
Yeah, well, it would be it's going to be long odds on it being caution free, so let's get into the comfy chairs and get ready for this one. Got 112 laps here tonight. Lost lap time around about 20 seconds, so it shouldn't be all that long a race, but of course if we get plenty of caution periods in, that we'll throw it out. So we'll see. Carl letting me in on the secret that this one will be very tyre dependent as well, and you can understand why, given the track that it is. So pit entry will be another obstacle here for the drivers, so they're going to have to be careful, particularly on the rejoin as well. So it just presents a completely different beast to Kansas, where we were last week.
Yeah, very much so. And this is the beauty about oval racing is, you know, no oval is the same. Some of them may look very similar, but they drive very differently. Obviously, the sun has gone down now, and night time has appeared, so temperatures will drop, and that's going to be good for the tyres. You can sort of see on the track as well that you've got a mix of asphalt and concrete as well. Obviously, the corners here are concrete surfaced. I'll go more into that once we do a bit of a lap around, but that does throw a bit of a challenge in there as well. And as you said, pit lane is the length of the track almost. You sort of go around on the inside of the track. So you sort of enter on the back straight and you exit on the back straight. So it's a little bit of a different pit lane, and it's a tricky one to enter sometimes.
Yeah, well, he'll get to see that in the flesh when we get through the race. So I'm sure a number of the drivers will get in and give it a bit of a practice, making sure they can get down and get into it tonight. But as yet, we have not seen too many of them yet. The Martinsville track is one that we've run before, so most of these drivers should be very, very familiar with running here and what sort of obstacles it will present. But a couple of new names again here tonight, even in this second last round. Nicholas Timores jumping in for a run. Of course, all the regular starters here as well. So, the question is, will Matty Ray bother qualifying tonight? He's in third in the championship. He's got to have a good race here. He's going to address the gap with 2 rounds to go. You'd say that he's going to be relying on Hamish Gallagher having a bad one. But we did see on the trucks on Monday night that strange things can happen, of course, with Jason Martin getting involved in an incident. And, of course, at a track like this, Lady Luck can certainly swing a fell swoop and change things up. So it's certainly not over as far as the championship goes. Qualifying up the front is going to be important. So it'll be an interesting strategy to see if Matty Ray decides not to qualify. I think you probably want to be either right up the front or right down the back and be able to just avoid what we are sure will unwind itself, as you can just see there, Jaden Russell going around in a fairly slow spin. That corner's caught out a couple of the drivers, so looking forward to seeing the track lap, Carl, and what there is to look out for on that corner. It's kind of like there's a hell of a lot of grip in that change of surface, and it's just catching a couple of people out.
Yeah, that's very much it. It's if you're sort of running slightly a bit too high, if you're running one set of wheels on the tarmac and one on the concrete, it can really catch you out a little bit. Sometimes it's a little bit quicker, but it's one of those things that can really catch you out. And also just changing from the slightly more grippy tarmac to the slightly less grippy concrete, you do get that feeling of the car losing a bit of rear end sometimes. So it's an odd sensation, this track. It's a bit of a different one. We've got another new driver as well, Matt Thompson as well, new name to the series, so somebody I've not seen before, driving in the Kyle Busch styled M&M liveries. I thought quickly it was Ryan Jones when I first saw it, because I'm used to seeing him in that colour, but no, it is Matt Thompson. So another new name to the series, which is good to see, and we're always happy to see some new faces out there.
Absolutely we are. So we're about to jump into qualifying, of course. It is solo qualifying, so if you're just joining us for the first time, no other cars on track. Get the track all to yourself. This will be the quietest the track is all night. And we're going to jump on board tonight with Jaden Russell. As he makes his way around, he's out on track already. He's about to get into his first flying lap, Carl, so we'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so in we come into the first set of corners, braking early, get turned down nicely, turn in on that concrete. You can see the black line where the tyres have gone, where that rubber is, and that's where the grip is. Out of the corner, watch out, because the wall juts towards you. It's very easy to make a mistake. Turns 3 and 4. Again, get in nice and low, cut the corner through nicely. Get a good exit here. It's important to get up close to the wall on the exit to try and get that good lap. There's only about 12 degrees of banking here. So it's very, very shallow, so you don't really get much help from the corner with it actually banking up. Obviously, when you're that low as well, there's barely any banking at all, so it really does. We sort of caught out. Jaden just catches the curb a little bit there. That moves the rear end out, and that's going to slow him down a tiny bit. That just caught him out on that second lap, which was a little bit faster, but then just touching that tiny bit of curb on the inside just unsettled the car, and that's something else you've got to watch out for here, is that inside curb. It's a little bit like a sausage curb because it will launch the car up.
Still had a strong P3 so far. Provisionally, Hamish Gallagher on pole. Provisionally, Josh Minklemore just making that data outdated as he jumps up into P3. Provisionally, Stevie Dubb in P5. So, usual suspects up towards the front. Edward Foster had to abort one of his laps, as I'd say just got a little bit of contact with the wall. Otherwise, putting in a 20.2. So our 2 championship combatants are up towards the front of the field, but Foster would have preferred to be a little further north than where he's currently sitting at the moment. Dave Douglas, another one who is potentially contending for a top 3 finish in the championship, yet to put in a lap. Matty Ray also at this stage, not having ventured out onto track. Brenton West has completed his 2 flying laps with a 20.76 as his best so far, just ahead of Mitchell West.
Good run for Matt Thompson and Tim Corn up in P7 and 8. Good to see them having a good outing here. I know Tim Corn is new to the oval side of things as well, so having a good run in that one. The West is just sitting behind Wilco at the moment with the Locked On car, of course, the teammate to Tim Corn. Of course, you can head over to Locked On Lads and Locked On iRacing to catch the highlights on a podcast form. If you don't have enough time to watch the races, you can catch some of the highlights over there, which is always handy. But Skirley going around at the moment in the 350. What will he manage on this lap? Looks to be a relatively good one, and it is indeed up into P1.
Calls, we just jump on board with Dave Douglas there. He's decided to try parking up at the top of the hill. He has to be careful here. He doesn't get a flag for going around the track backwards. But he's just starting a run now. This is just to get a lap in. Won't be the quickest having started from there, but we'll see how it pans out for him. Noddy Tompkins completed his couple of laps as well.
Interesting to see what Dave actually gets here, because he kind of positioned himself so he got a good launch off the corner, so possibly got a little bit more speed. So that jumps him right up to P7. So a little bit of a sly move there by Double D.
Very interesting. Matty Hunter on track. Of course, got a podium last week. So he'll be hoping he can replicate that again here tonight. Currently sitting in P12 provisionally. Does he get a quicker second lap round? No, he does not. So 20.15, as good as he can get. Nicholas Timores is in P13 behind him, and that's going to take us to the end of qualifying. Matty Ray, in typical Matty Ray fashion, not setting a lap time, nor Scott Griffiths or Brett Campbell. So I'll run you through the starting order when things flip over. We are here for round 11 of the ANZCAR Thunder Series in the Xfinity cars at Martinsville. It's a 112 lap race tonight, and we will see tyres and attrition being the 2 topics of the evening as qualifying comes to a close. We're about to flip over. We'll bring the grid up on screen in a moment or two. There is a good call here for somebody who can get closest to the number of cautions we're going to see tonight. Of course, we'd love to see a caution-free race, but leprechauns don't exist. So let's get the grid up on screen. And it is Michael Skurlock and Hamish Gallagher off the front row with Aidan Schultz and Josh Mickelmore off row 2. Then it's Russell and Williams off 3 with Dave Douglas and Troy Davison off 4. Then it's Matt Thompson and Tim Corn off 5 with Gary Wellman and Matty Hunter off row 6. As we flip over the page, it's Timores and Foster off 7 with Donnelly and Georgeson off 8. Then Lachlan Urquio, Mirko Dortnack off 9 with Jay Brazier and Ruben Phelps off 10. Then Norm Clark and Wade Sheedy out of 11 with Peter Wilkinson and Brenton West off row 12. Then it is Mitchell West and Noddy Tompkins off 13, Christopher Finlay and Matty Ray off 14, then Scott Griffiths and Brett Campbell rounding out the 30 starters for this one tonight.
Yeah, pretty decent field here tonight. 30 cars around Martinsville is a lot of cars to get around, and it can obviously just one little mistake can catch a few of them out, so they're just going to have to be careful. The main thing they're going to have to look at here is not pushing too hard too early. You can't, we say it every week, but you can't win it on the first lap, but you sure as heck can lose it. And if you lose it here at Martinsville on that first lap, if you're high up in the field, you can definitely take a few cars out as well. So it could be you've got to be careful around here. So just take it nice and sort of easy at the start, build into the runs. Don't push too much and just get the momentum built up, and then try and build up to the race a little bit later on. You don't want to push too hard too early here, because you're just going to end up with a absolutely destroyed car.
You can see there when things do get underway that we're going to have people starting on that corner, and that in itself can lead to a couple of issues on that opening lap. Cold tyres and getting a little bit too keen on the old loud pedal too early could result in, particularly again, you can see that change in track surface could lead to an early finish for some. Welcome to the stream, Gail. Saying that she's here now, so we can get started. Well, let's do that. There should be 2 warm-up laps here. 2 formation laps. Warm-up laps? Formation laps? What do they call them in oval track, Carl? Have I got that right?
Warm-up.
Warm-up laps, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's one of the only similarities between circuit and oval track.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Christopher Finlay there in pit lane, choosing to start from pit lane. So
not a bad call, in all honesty.
No, yeah, absolutely not. You just see how long that pit lane is.
Ruben
Carl alluded to
as
it.
well as Chase.
Yeah, I could see him in there.
That as well. So a couple of people choosing to start in pit lane, which is not a bad shout, in all honesty, because there could be a bit of action into the first corner. Of course, you can see pit exit just here, just as the car's passing now. That's where the pit exit is. So you're going to come out behind quite a few cars, of course, but you will hopefully be able to avoid an accident if it happens. The pace car peels in. Skurlock's going to lead away here at Martinsville for round 9 of the Thunder Series and Season 2, and away he goes. Gets a really good start there for Skirley. They are away cleanly at the moment.
So I was just waiting to see here. That's not the one that we were looking for. There we go. Just wanting to see what's going on further back down the field at the moment. It looks like we have had a clean start. Phelps and Clark join from pit lane. We've already got a small pack developing at the start here, 2 early on, but with 3 wide in the background there, with Stevie Dubb trying to shuffle his way through. Troy Davison, Tim Corn, Nicholas Timoris all together there. As Court just gets a little bit of a bump.
Oh, as the 486 goes round, loses the rear end, and that's going to bring out the first caution of the night.
Yeah. Just a fair bit of damage there.
Jay Brazier just losing the rear end just as he gets mid-corner. I think there was a little bit of contact, actually. Oh, no, sorry. What's that?
Yeah, a little bit just on the 312 there, I think, and he just come down the track. And then Norm Clark's got caught up, and it looks like Peter Wilkinson and Mitchell West just trying to avoid it. Came into contact with one another, obviously, given the relative lack of pace around this track. Not too much damage to those cars, but damage nonetheless.
Yeah, just, it's not going to be traumatic damage, at least. Wilco sort of got relatively lucky there. It was side-on-side contact with Mitchell West. It's just going to be a little bit of cosmetic damage to that to those cars, and always a shame when you've got a beautifully painted car when it gets a few scratches on it. Just got caught into the back of Joe Brazier there by the... just got caught into the back. And that just spun him around, unfortunately. Brakes a little bit earlier, I think, than somebody was expecting. And that caught him out. This is really good news for Ruben Phelps, who, starting in pit lane, went a lap down. So he's going to get his lap back right now. So he's going to be back on the lead lap for this one.
Well, he'll be happy with that. Early on, that's not what you want to have happen.
And the newest member of the winner's circle, Mr. Ruben Phelps, of course, to ANZCAR, taking out the victory in the trucks. So it's great to see, because a long time coming. Let me say that, not in a sort of, it's taken him far too long, but more as it's definitely been something that has been brewing for a long time. We said Ruben Phelps was definitely one to watch and one that was going to possibly get a win sometime soon, and took a little bit longer than we expected, but it came in fantastic fashion on Monday night in the trucks.
Mr. Skirley got away. We're set limited here tonight, Carl. We are, as always.
We are, as always, yeah.
So
that's 4 sets, of course.
It's going to be a big decision as to when these sets get used. See, 3 laps in is not one of those times, but about managing those tyre sets throughout the race, and when do you take them so that you don't get caught at the end potentially with a run with a gap here. The time difference obviously going to go a lap down, but a place where fresh tyres will certainly make a difference. So
we'll also probably see a fair few people just taking right side only in some pit stops, so we may well see a few rights only tyre changes, just as a bit of a dice roll. So we might not see everybody taking all 4 sets of tyres tonight, so that will be interesting to watch.
So we'll go green this time around. Skurlock leading us away again. Nothing's changed at the front. Skurley, Gallagher and Schultz.
Schultz with a new helmet design tonight.
Yes, I did see that. Jump on board with him in a bit and have a look at that. I might even have time now if I'm quick enough. Oh no, and of course the camera doesn't want to play tonight. Doesn't like that very much. You got a whole heap of roll bar there, but there's a little bit of Schultz there with his fresh lid. But it will be Skurlock leading us away, and he goes out of the corner. Schultz gets bunched up a little bit there, not expecting it, and a little bit of contact there with Josh Mickelmore behind him. That's allowed Jaden Russell to pop up into 3rd place, and that move was done.
Oh, Luke Georgeson gets spun, manages to save it, but the caution is out, and we've got another caution. Luke Georgeson getting just a little bit of help there from somebody.
It could have been...
it was Wade Sheedy. So Sheedy just getting into the back of Luke there and just helping him around a little bit. So unfortunate there, and then unfortunately a big moment after that one. So just gets into the side and then nowhere to go for the cars behind him. You can see, unfortunately, Wilco's managed to get involved in that one as well as Mitchell West. So that was Brenton West, sorry. Both of them really got sort of in a poor position. They really couldn't do much to save themselves in that spot, unfortunately.
This is a little bit earlier. This is Norm Clark, and it registered as a crash, but certainly nothing there. He's just stopped out on track, so he managed to pull the 09 up early enough to avoid any issues.
Yeah, just giving that a little bit of an extra dab of the brake, maybe just tap the wall just very slightly. These cars do tend to pull a little bit on the brakes, and they're not the easiest things to control at the best of times. They're a bit of a wild ride. It's a little bit like a bucking bronco sometimes with the horsepower on these things. Low grip, lots of horsepower. You're just holding on for dear life most of the time.
So Carl, at this stage we're going to be here until the Cup starts tomorrow. We have a caution every 3 laps. But
hopefully we will see some good green flag running.
Yeah, I think we probably will. We can always hope so.
We can indeed. Well, I mean, it's a bit early, but seeing as you mentioned it, Stuart, what is the nickname for Martinsville? What's the nickname for the track because of what it looks like?
I was going to say, I do know the answer to this. It's the paperclip.
It is indeed.
Well, there you go. It's one away. It's every chance that I won't know the answer to many of the others, though. But yes, I did know that. So
1 for 1 tonight.
Absolutely. And Phoenix, we're about to go green actually, so I'll keep that for after, as we're going to get underway with our second race start here at the control of Mickey Skurlock, and he lets it go. Gets away well here. Will everybody in the background, can we have some green flag, please, gentlemen? Jaden Russell gets checked up there. That goes wide, send him into Aiden Schultz, Josh Mickelmore, because of that checkup.
But great car control from Schultz there, just managing to save it. He did not lose the rear, so it was lucky door-on-door contact there that managed to keep him on the line and make sure he didn't spin it. So keeping the race green, importantly. So a bit of a thump for Schultz. That'll take you a couple of moments just to get your breath back and just get yourself settled down into the race. But once you do, you just get straight back in it. Josh Mickelmore just had nowhere to go in that respect, and I think he's just sort of readdressing that position as well. So just sort of not fighting too hard with Schultz there, because he very much was apologetic on the old radio. But we are underway. And we have another incident behind Luke Georgeson as well. Again, caught up in this one, unfortunately. As well as Noddy Tompkin. Not sure what happened. Is this one?
Brett Campbell's got into the back corner of him. Just didn't see him going slow there. And off he goes around. And that is all she wrote. So,
that's a fairly heavy one as well. That's fairly heavy impact on the front of these cars, unfortunately. So,
big check up there. I'm not sure what caused that. We might
go and have a look.
Try and jump on with Luke Georgeson a little bit further up the way. He's just sort of got caught out.
Yeah, he's actually just got caught out behind Ruben Phelps, I think. And he was just positioning the car just so he didn't lose it, just so he didn't go into the back of Phelps. And then, unfortunately, Brett's just coming a little bit hot and not been able to put the brake down hard enough. And just tapped the back of Luke just in the worst possible spot, and that spun him around and up the track he goes.
Norm Clark getting lucky again there, just pulling up again, just to be the first on the scene to witness the outcome of the accident. So no damage there. Mick Taylor, Mick, pity not running tonight, mate. Just wishing good luck to the SRM team. And Gail, no one has a guess yet in for the number of cautions. But I'm going double digits tonight, unfortunately. I think we're going to probably get 10 or so, which is not what we want to see, but it is the nature of these courses in my very limited experience. Yeah,
unfortunately, if people struggle at the start and get a lot of damage on the car as well, it tends to sort of breed cautions, and you get the cautions breeding cautions aspect of it all. Jaden Russell doing a really good job on these starts, though. He's managed to work his way up into P2. But, unfortunately, because nobody's been able to get the brakes up to temperature and tyres up to temperature, things like that, when there's a little moment like that, you can't quite get the car working properly. So the cars aren't in their operations temperature, and it causes a few issues, unfortunately. So it is always that thing of yellows breeding yellows, as we often see. But I'm sure as soon as we get underway and actually get racing, we should hopefully have a good green flag run. As the pace car drops in once more, Skirley is going to lead away. When's he going to drop the loud pedal this time? He's waiting, and he's waiting a long time and does it just on the corner exit. Beautiful job from Skirley there, catches Jaden Russell just napping a tiny bit. Russell does a good job of starting, so Hamish Gallagher can't get underneath him. Looks like Gary Wellman's just got caught out a little bit on the high side, losing a couple of positions from that restart, but good restart once again by Skirley, just catching everybody on that one. A little bit of contact a bit further down the pack between Cade Donnelly, but he manages to keep the car in line, so that's good for him. Foster, meanwhile, having a bit of a run up and having a bit of a charge through the field. We've got cars going too wide at the moment as well.
Yeah, Lachlan Urquhart there, just lucky to catch the back of the 42. Almost looked like he was about to rotate it, but just managed to hold on.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's very much that's the difference with the real experience and less experienced drivers, is they can generally catch when they get caught. Obviously you're going to have some moments where you can't catch it. I think I just saw Mirko Dornak, I think, just going very high up in the track. But they tend to be able to save what could be a caution. We saw it a little bit earlier with Aidan Schultz and Josh Micklemore. They did a great job of stopping that from becoming a caution. Same from Lachlan Urquhart. But it's one of those things. It's a skill that you have to learn, unfortunately, and it's not a fun skill to learn.
How's Matt Thompson doing? He's up into P6 on debut.
Yeah, just sitting ahead of Foster at the moment. Foster gaining 7 positions so far this race, so he's on a bit of a charge. Obviously, poor qualifying run for Edward. He does quite like Martinsville, so had a bit of a poor qualifying run, but he's definitely got some race pace. As we see Aidan Schultz making a move on Dave Douglas.
Yeah, trying to get down the inside here.
The wily stoked Dave Douglas with his interesting qualifying.
Oh, there we go, a bit of contact.
Bit of hip and shoulder action there.
Just broke loose there on Aidan. as he was turning in on the exit, well done, as he was trying to turn through, get out of the corner, and it just broke for him. So a little bit of contact there. Dave Douglas already back battling with Edward Foster now as well. So Foster looks to move up another position. And gets
on a short track
done.
Short track like this, so you get that rubbing. That's a normal thing. You know, that was a little bit heavy, but that's normal action. In all honesty, you're going to get the contact side by side, and this is why a lot of drivers tend to struggle when they first come into oval racing. Meanwhile, Jaden Russell's making a move on Scully at the moment, trying to get his way through as it stands up on the high side. At the moment, Scully's just going to give him a little tap with his bum. Yep. Just slides it through there perfectly. Just that little bit of tap with the rear for Scully just to adjust that car to give him a good run off the corner. Perfectly done there. But it catches a lot of different drivers out. Obviously, drivers that are more used to less contact in motorsport. They come into sort of NASCAR and oval racing, and they get very irate at the fact that somebody gives them a little bit of a tap here and there, and that's part of the sport. That's part of the action in this series.
I was going to say, just to reflect back on the restart, Jaden Russell trying to pick when Michael Skurlock was going to go, and he almost got it perfect, just having to jump out of the throttle a little bit, and that's when Skurley went. So he almost got right on it, and he would have been right next to Skurley on the start, but just missing it by a tenth of a second, and that was all it took. That meant that he just bunched up that little bit and gave Skurley the start that he wanted again. So, I mean, a cracking one if he had just managed to pick it at the right time, but it wasn't to be. Not affected him too much now, still in P2. Hamish Gallagher just jogging on the spot a little bit back here in P3. Not pressing the point too much, and potentially at this point in time no need to, as Aidan Schultz now is nearly 2 seconds behind, with Matt Thomas and Edward Foster bearing down on him. We've also got Josh Mickelmore and Gary Wellman, and Nicholas Timoris and and Stephen Williams battling away. So this is the battle here for just the 10th position in the race.
Leaders now picking their way through a few damaged cars, getting up to the back of the field already, and that cost Skurley a little bit. He actually caught a little bit of the curb as well, just took a little bit too much of the apron, and that cost him a little bit of time. So Skurley almost lost that first position, but on that restart, you'll sort of see the drivers, they'll sit relatively close to each other as well, and you'll see that car on the outside sitting very close to the car on the inside. And effectively what you're doing is you're listening out to the car beside you. And I imagine what Skurley would have done on that restart was just had the clutch in a little bit and just revved it, and that would have been the thing that caught J. Russ out. That's one of the little tactics you can use in oval racing for the restarts, and it's a good one to sort of catch people out because they think you're going to run away, and then all of a sudden you're not moving fast, and all of a sudden you disappear in front of them. So again, one of those little tactics that you can use on the restart, just as is one of those little skills that you have in oval racing, and as I said, it's one of those different things from sort of the standard street racing and sort of circuit racing aspect.
Tool in the toolbox.
Very much so.
Christopher Finlay there just gets passed by our race leaders. So 38 through 112, and we have got another caution coming up. Mirko Dortnack round the wrong way.
Around. And I think, did I just see Gurley make contact with it?
I'm not sure if he did.
Somebody else.
Let's have a look here. So it's a solo. He's just gone round by himself. Down on the wall there. So he's actually ended up a lot further down the track.
And it was Scully. Yeah, Scully's gone down on the inside to avoid him. Mirko's spun up to try and get the car round, and unfortunately, seeing the leaders coming, decided to hold the brakes, and Scully thought he was going up the track more. Caught Scully by surprise. So a bit of BMX Bandit on BMX Bandit action there, and that's not what Scully would have wanted. That's a lot of damage to the front end of the My Little Scully entry, and that's going to affect him for sure.
Yeah, the 350 would have been better off without the damage completely. So bad. It looked like he lost his bonnet there, but it's clearly not. So just iRacing things, but
I reckon he will have some engine damage though. That's going to be the main thing. We've got cars coming into pit lane, so we've got Mickelmore, Williams, Davidson, Wellman, Donnelly, Hunter, Urquio, Raymond, and Griffiths all coming into pit lane, so they've decided to put on a fresh set of boots and see how this one goes. So they're trying something a little bit different.
43.112 is probably not the worst idea. You're running that a little bit further down the pack, but...
I'm just going to go back and have a little bit of a look-see at they take
2 or 4.
Four sets to tyres, yeah.
It's obviously it's a little bit of a gamble because we don't know how many cautions we're going to have between now and then, but as we rapidly approach halfway through the race, if we stay green again for another extended period, then they'll definitely be in, definitely make it to the end. So we'll see how this one plays out, but our leader's certainly not looking at this stage like they're going to jump in. The lights will go out on the pace car next time around, and Skirley, Russell, Gallagher, Schultz, Thompson, Foster, Douglas, Morris, and Wade Sheedy, followed by Ruben Phelps, the top 10 in the race, all of whom have not been through pit lane. Of course, Ruben Phelps starting from pit lane, so he is up 10 positions.
Yeah, good run from him at the moment. So Brenton West came in the last time round, so he's actually on the freshest. He's on slightly fresher tyres. So Brenton West sitting in P11 is in a decent position. He's the first of the cars to stop at the moment. He stopped some 10 laps before everybody else. Norman Clark sticking it out there, so that's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, I reckon Skirley's got some engine damage now as well, so we'll see how much that affects him. That can really, really hurt you on the starting process because you lose a couple of ponies, and that really can hurt you on the acceleration side. So Skirley's going to try and pull away. I'd say he'll try and pull away right on the exit of the corner and see if he can get a little bit of a leap. But I'd say Jaden Russell might have an opportunity here. So here we go, getting ready. He's waiting for the exit of the corner. And away he goes and manages to catch them out a little bit as Aidan Schultz goes into the back of Jaden Russell. But look at Jaden Russell just able to launch that car. He's got so much more speed than Skirley right now. It's all around the 621 goes. That's Nick Tamoris has gone around, unfortunately, in the mid-pack. A little bit of help possibly from Dave Douglas. Just gets down a little bit, just makes contact with Dave Douglas, and that's brought out caution again. Tamoris doing a good job of just keeping the car out of the way of everybody, though, so no major damage. That's just dropped him down from a good solid P12 down to the back of the grid. So he just comes in a little bit there and just makes that little bit of contact there, unfortunately. But one of those easy mistakes to make, but good awareness for that flick spin, because he was watching his timer and keeping an eye on everything, and managed to save that one. So good awareness at least for him there, because he held the brake, did everything right, and flick spun it right at the right time, and didn't lose too much time from that one.
Yeah, so and into pit lane, as we would expect. So Matt Hunter jumps in. No, Matt Hunter doesn't jump in. It does trigger, unfortunately, sometimes.
Yes.
When the driver doesn't go in, being a short track. So Gal's off to make a cuppa. I think she's getting settled in for the night. We're halfway towards 10 cautions, unfortunately, at 47 through 112.
So, I saw her making a cup of Palmer, actually.
I did see that.
I mean, that's some dedication to your love of Palmers there, if you're drinking them.
Yeah, blend it up, just chuck it into a cup.
Exactly.
I can tell you what, Carl, we've been set free here in Victoria finally, and heading regional this weekend, and looking forward to a Palmer and a freshly poured beer at my favourite country pub.
It would be nice to be back out in the open again, letting you back out into the wilds once more. But I think we could hear the cheering here in Adelaide as well. So I think at about midnight we all heard this very faint "Yay!"
Are you sure
distance.
Are you sure that wasn't for the America's Cup victory?
It I don't think so, but it may have been JCW. So, I mean, it could have been either JCW or Melbourne. I'm not sure which one it was.
Very good. But no, it's I'm looking forward to that. We can't come to a close quick enough. And of course, we've got the race that doesn't stop the nation. Bathurst is a few weeks away yet, but the Melbourne Cup's on, so get that long weekend. Unofficial long weekend.
Yeah. It's a long weekend if you choose it to be.
It'll be a good time to remember that there may be an issue with broadcasting the trucks on Monday night, because I won't actually be here, but we'll deal with that afterwards.
That's an off-air discussion thing, I think.
Well, I've only just realised. Of course, anyway, here's what it is.
ANZCAR comes in once more. It's going to be Jaden Russell leading it away, and Skirley's going to be suffering on that outside. He's going to try and get down as much as he can, but obviously that car is lacking some ponies under the hood. Plenty on it, but none underneath it now after that front end damage, but does a good job of keeping P2 for the moment. But I think he's going to struggle keep fending off Hamish Gallagher. That Diet Coke liveried car is going to be absolutely flying, and Aidan Schultz as well. But we've got another caution, a big one in the background, as Troy Davidson is around with Gary Wellman, and that's caught out pretty much the whole back end of the field.
The track's blocked.
We have got...
Oh, Josh Micklemore's involved in that as well. Oh, no. Oh.
So, Mitchell West, I think, caught out by Gary Wellman. So, Mitchell West just gets caught by Gary Wellman, spins him around, and then, unfortunately, the rest of the field gets caught up in that one. Even Matty Ray could not avoid that carnage.
Oh,
This machine could not keep it clean.
Micklemore actually rolled over. So, he had certainly copped the most of it. Let's just jump on here with Josh.
Oh, he gets caught by West and then just does the second slowest rollover in the history of motorsport there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was going, and then gone. He won't be laughing though, but the Sim boys getting into one another as well at the top of that incident. So we'll have another look at it from Troy Davison's perspective.
It'd be a bit of an Austin Power situation trying to get those cars back around. So yeah, unfortunately West has gone round, and then Gary Wellman and Davidson get caught up in that, and then you can see pretty much everybody gets caught up in it. A lot of cars managing to brake in time, but then it's the carnage of actually trying to get the cars back into position, and you can see they're just sort of trying to flick spin around, get the cars actually moving around in a way, and a few cars get caught out tremendously there, a few just make it round nicely, but it's a really awkward situation to be in, and you can see Troy Davidson couldn't actually flick spin it in time. Does he get passed by the leader? Yes, he does, so he's going to lose a lap from that one.
So Peter Wilkinson copped the shopping trolley car park bump, with Scotty Griffiths just reversing straight out of the park opposite, straight into the front of his car. Anyway, that's 6 down, 4 to go.
With this, I mean, the leaders will be using this to their advantage, because they'll be able to stick it out there, of course, with these very short runs and these quick cautions, and they'll be looking at probably making it quite towards the end of the race. You could see a glut of cars coming into pit lane. It could catch Jaden Russell out a little bit. If he gets caught out by the only one staying out and everybody else comes in, that could be a bit of a disaster for him. So it's got to be, you don't really want to be the leader in this situation. You probably want to be the car in P3, because you can then make the decision of whether you're going to come in or not. But obviously you want to keep track position, because you don't want to get caught up in an incident like that, but it does make it a little bit tricky. Skirley's got to do it all over again though, restarting with that slightly neutered pony, and not quite going to have the same power as it did before.
1 horsepower.
It's down to donkey power, I think. Jaden Russell gets a good start there, really nicely off the corner, squares it off a little bit. Look at Hamish Gallagher down on the inside, going to make that move on Skirley right away, gets through very quickly. and he's managed to work his way up into P2 now, and he's going to try and chase down Jay Russ. Scully tries to make it back, can't quite do it. He checks up a little bit, catches Aiden Schultz out a little bit, gets a bit of a tap on the nose as, I think there is somebody around in the background. Yes, there is. Norman Clark is around. So, caution number 9, I think?
Caution 7. Oh, wow. This is Josh Micklemore's night. Just goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, big moment there. Unfortunately, Norman Clark gets caught by Kay Donnelly, and then I think it might have been Maddie Ray actually lost the car. So Maddie Ray's actually lost the car going in there, gone into Mitchell West, and spun him up into, spun up the car of, what was that? That was Sheedy, Wade Sheedy there, just trying to avoid it a little bit. He sort of avoids it, but then just tags Norman Clark, unfortunately, and that spins Norman around, and then Josh Micklemore just gets caught out in it once more, unfortunately.
So Skirley and Douglas have jumped into pit lane.
Yeah, Scully's going to try and get a little bit of repair done. I think he'll see if he can get a few extra guinea pigs put underneath that bonnet to try and make some power back. But it's going to be pretty tricky from there. Obviously, he doesn't want to be in there too long because he doesn't want to lose a lap. But he's going to have fresh tyres, and I think he's going to need them to sort of keep a relatively good position. Brenton West is working his way nicely up the field. He's made 18 positions up now. He is on slightly fresher tyres than the leaders as well, remember? So he's currently up in 6th, so keep an eye out for Brenton West.
Well, it's certainly been full of cautions, but the racing, while it was there, was good and close, particularly up at the front. So Foster's managed to recover here 10 positions from his qualifying effort, so he'll be happy with that. Of course, Hamish Gallagher, the championship leader, still 2 spots up the road in front of him. So we're looking to try and get in front of Hamish, address the gap, and at least have a fighting chance next week of potentially taking out this championship.
Yeah, he's going to be looking to do the back-to-back with that, so he'll be pretty happy if he can get this one done.
Get the win?
Yeah, it would be very good indeed. I mean, you know, if he can get the championship back-to-back, that's a very good thing indeed.
Hamish Gallagher, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
definitely. He would be keen for that one. So we'll just have to wait and see, of course. I don't have to wait too long, but next week being the final round. The lights will go out on the pace car tonight, and we'll get this one back underway as we passed the halfway mark already. So not too much else to say at this stage as the pace car goes in. It's Jaden Russell again who's going to take us away. Hamish Gallagher next to him as Aiden Schultz is on the bumper of Jaden Russell. Russell jumps well. Schultz gets a reasonable start with him, but Gallagher was aware and goes with him on the outside. Edward Foster gets a good start with them as well as this lead grouping runs away. Brenton West down on the inside there, just trying to get out of the way. Sorry, Mitchell West, my apologies. As he just tries to get out of the way. Hamish Gallagher to the outside here of Foster. They're trying to close in on Aiden Schultz. Jaden Russell still leading. It's got Ruben Phelps and Brenton West just in the background there. Those who pitted, keep an eye on their progress. Dave Douglas making his way up already. As Edward Foster gets down underneath and moves up into P3.
Sounded like an engine or something went just then.
I think it might have been Mitchell West, potentially Noddy Tompkins, who jumped into pit lane.
Yeah, so somebody had a bit of a moment with something. So yeah, unfortunate there. But no, there's a little bit of a crunch somewhere, but they're all going, and it is yellow at the front of the field, but luckily it's not yellow for the track because we've got Jaden Russell leading with Aidan Schultz just behind him at the moment. Hamish Gallagher battling it away with Foster. Foster down the inside at the moment for P3. Foster pushing Hamish up the high side at the moment. They are battling it side by side. It is Mitch versus Natari at the moment. Who's going to get this one underway? Of course, these two battling for the championship as well. Foster 13 points behind Hamish Gallagher at the moment, so he's going to be desperate to try and finish in front of him tonight to keep his championship hopes alive.
Yeah, as we've got another caution, Ruben Phelps and Matt Hunter coming together in the background.
Oh, Ruben Phelps had a big tank slapper out of the corner. Back end just absolutely stepped out on him, unfortunately, and Matty Hunter, of course, admin of ANZCAR, a lot of work that he does, gets caught with that one. So really weird incident there for Ruben. It was almost like the back end just was not sticking and just absolutely tore up.
It kind of actually looks like Carl, like he might have been flipped. Just looking at it again here. Oh no, he got real loose. Yeah.
It was just off the exit. It was almost like a high-sider for a motorbike. That's the only way I can describe it, is it just got really, really wiggly off the exit and he could not save it. So it just was like a bit of a high-side incident where you sort of get momentum off your side and then all things go wrong.
So I was going to say Gail picked 8 cautions. She changed it to 18 after the early pressing, but we're on to our 8th caution of the night.
So, after a historic victory in 1953, the car that finished 32nd here at Martinsville in 1953 was interesting for what reason? Due to the co-driver.
It was female?
You may actually... no, I don't think it was.
Oh, okay.
Well, they were. Sorry, I should probably say all.
So it was the first all-female pairing then?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
I have no idea.
I'll leave it open for a couple of moments.
Do you want to just repeat the question again?
Sure. So, after a historic win at Hickory, the car that finished 32nd at Martinsville, so won at the Hickory race, and then at Martinsville finished 32nd, was interesting because it had an interesting co-driver in the car.
Wasn't a monkey, was it?
You've got it right. You're 2 for 2 tonight, Stuart.
Oh, there you go. I must admit, I think you might have asked that question before.
I haven't, but I have talked about it before.
Right.
So,
okay, then that might be why I remember it.
That's it.
It's not the sort of thing that you guess.
No, I was trying to make it a little bit easier for you tonight. Of course, Jocko Flocko, Tim and Jocko, of course, the interesting pairing, ended up running a monkey in his car as a promotional item, and probably not the safest thing to do, to have a monkey running around in the car. It did have a belt on it. It wasn't just loose in the car until it was loose in the car, and then caused a lot of problems at the race and was no longer welcome in said car. But an interesting part of NASCAR history nonetheless.
Yes, you certainly wouldn't get through that with the scrutineers this time of year, as we're about to go green again. So this time Schulte on the front row with Jaden Russell, so he's going to try and pick the start as Foster goes with them. Schulte there just gets a little bit of wheel spin and allows Russell to get away, and Edward Foster to move up there. Matt Thompson just getting hung on that outside there. That's right, on the inside there, I should say, just having to slow up a little bit to keep underneath. Brenton West is doing well with a fairly damaged rear on the 113.
Yeah, doing a good job there, battling it out with Matt Thompson. So Matt Thompson having an absolute blinder of a debut tonight. So good to see, but Jaden Russell just absolutely nailing that start. And after getting his first win in ANZCAR a few weeks back, maybe it's time for Jaden Russell to get a victory on a non-dirt surface. So definitely a bit more confidence in Russell's driving as well. You can sort of see it. He's just definitely got that little bit more confidence tonight than he has in the past.
Well, sometimes you just take that. Obviously, we know he's got some skill on the dirt. So, but certainly able to compete on the oval track stuff as well. So, can he convert it tonight? 77 through 112. So, green from here. There's actually not too long left to go in the race.
Only 35 laps remaining, so yeah, it is very tantalisingly close, and those guys that stayed out will be hoping that they can keep that car nice and settled. Obviously, running under caution, you're not going to be using the tyres too much. Fuel's not going to be much of an issue at all. Dave Douglas just getting up into the wall there, just getting a little bit of a side swipe into the wall, but manages to save it. But yeah, obviously it's just trying to keep it out and just trying to keep track position at the moment for these guys. Nobody up there on very fresh tyres at the moment. Currently it is Brenton West on some of the... it is Cade Donnelly on the freshest tyres now. Cade Donnelly working his way through the field. So Cade is on the freshest tyres and he's starting to catch up a little bit to this front pack.
You just see there that change again of track surface, just catching the back of West.
Foster into the back of Aidan Schultz, and Aidan Schultz has gone around, unfortunately. Foster just catching Aidan out on the exit of the corner. Foster just got underneath him, caught Aidan out. Schultz a little bit slower on the exit than Foster would have thought, and catches Aidan in the rear, and Foster straight away owning up to that one, saying that was definitely a mistake on his end of things. Matt Thompson coming into pit lane with Matty Ray and Gary Wellman. The rest of the drivers sticking it out, I think.
Yeah, it's again, I was literally just talking about that change of track state. It looks like that may have played a role in that one as well. Unusual for the Godfather to make an issue, but always straight on the radio when he does, so it's unfortunate for Aidan Schultz. He's dropped back to 11. Obviously the damage not big, which is good, but he's got some work to do, and he was having a strong run, so Ed won't be happy about that.
No, and look, it's not over for Schultzy right now. He's still got a relatively good car. He's still got some good speed in there as well, so he's still got a good chance of making it from here. So it's not over and done with for sure. There is still plenty to go in this night. Unfortunately, we have had 9 cautions now, so yeah, almost in double digits. Will we see it stop at 9 though? Hopefully so. Hopefully we get a nice green sprint to the finish here, because that will be an interesting one, because we've got cars on fresher tyres behind cars that have been out there all race long. So Cade Donnelly currently running on tyres that have done 43 laps. Jaden Russell running on tyres that have done 83 laps. So almost half a race difference between those two cars. And then Dave Douglas and Norman Clark actually on tyres have only done 25 laps, so they're sitting pretty as well. So watch out for Dave Douglas and Norman Clark on this restart. They might be ones to watch out for.
We're going to see. Obviously the track's just not open enough for the tyre advantage to be there, and we haven't had long enough runs for...
Jaden Russell having some major connectivity issues up front. Let's hope that settles down. Hopefully that's gone away. It's never fun when you have a connectivity issue decide your race.
So, lights out again. This is going to be a quick sprint to the finish if we can keep it this way. You can see why as well. There's some traffic up in the front there. Oh, there's contact there on the restart in the background. I didn't quite catch who that was, but Russell's got away well. So has Hamish Gallagher, down on the inside there. Just a tiny little tap there on Foster that slowed up his exit out of the corner. Rubbin's racing, and off they go. There's some damage in the back of the 53. In fact, it might have been that I heard, but it's meant that Hamish Gallagher's got a good restart here. He's down on the inside of Foster, so the battle for the championship leaders continues as Dave Douglas gets wide next to Brenton West down in the battle for P5 and 6. So it's on in the field, and it's on at the front. 87 through 112. Aiden Schultz jumps into pit lane. We've got another caution.
Caution is out again. Who was leading there between Foster and Gallagher? I think it might have been Gallagher. Let's just see what happened here. It looks like...
I haven't quite caught it there. I think it might have been Luke Georgeson. Let's just go back and have another look here. It was just rotated around by himself.
Oh, unfortunate there.
Just jumped out.
A few people having a couple of connectivity issues, unfortunately. Tim Corn getting caught out with that, losing connectivity just on that restart. And unfortunately, well, I guess unfortunately, but also luckily didn't come back and catch anybody out. But obviously some connectivity issues as well going on out there tonight. So that's not good. And looks like Skirley has also had an issue. So Skirley also just dropping out as well. So obviously there's a couple of connectivity gremlins going on out there tonight, which is not what we want to see.
No, I mean, talk about, you couldn't really have too many more worse tracks to have connectivity issues at than a half mile.
Yeah, it's sort of...
it's just always on.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a bit like a super speedway as well. You know, connectivity issues there are never fun. Not a fun thing to happen. We've got Luke Georgeson down in the care centre. Grab him up quickly and ask what happened. Luke Georgeson, welcome to the comment box. Obviously not how we'd love to have you up here, but a bit of a rough night out there for you tonight.
Yeah, rough is probably a bit of an understatement, but yeah, Martinsville, eat your heart out, eh?
Yeah, obviously it did not go well for you. What happened out in the just at the end there? Did the back end just completely lose it on you from damage, or was it?
Yeah, I think just too much damage. When you get 12 incident points in the first 15 laps from people rear-ending you, I guess there's a bit of damage there. I spent 5 minutes in the pits and tried to get it fixed, but yeah, it is what it is. That's short course racing, I suppose.
Unfortunately, as is the case tonight. Look, hopefully we'll get you up here in the booth in better circumstances in the future. Look after yourself and enjoy the infield care centre. I hear Susie's putting on the band-aids tonight.
Oh, that wasn't a band-aid, but yeah, all good, mate.
Thanks, Luke.
Cheers, boys.
So we're going to get back to some green flag action shortly. And Joan Russell was sitting there pretty in the lead. He's going to be once again pulling off. Hamish Gallagher will be up on that high side, and Foster will have that inside line again. So he might be able to get a restart here and possibly make a move on Gallagher. Watch out for the cars behind him though, because they're all on lots of fresher tyres. So there is a real mix of strategies going on right now. We've got the drivers that are sticking it out there for no stops by the looks of things, and drivers that have come in for some fresh boots and are going to be racing it out. Watch out for Matty Ray. He's got tyres that are very fresh.
Matty Ray, 81, pitted this time around. Matt Thompson also pitted. So it's last caution around. So they've got very, very fresh boots on.
Aiden Schultz actually just coming in this time. So Aiden Schultz has got the freshest of the boots on at the moment in P13. Unlucky for some. Will that prove lucky for him tonight? Pace cars come in. Russell is going to be leading away. Gets a good exit off the corner. Foster leads away nicely too. Foster's going to have the inside line here on Hamish Gallagher. He could have the option to get past him here. He's going to try and keep it nice and tight. Get a good exit here off the corner. And just about gets it in front of Gallagher this time round. Watch out for Dave Douglas behind on those fresher boots. Dave Douglas trying to push his way up as well as Matty Ray. Those two are fighting it out. Matty Ray getting a good launch off the corner there. Can't quite make it work. Same with Matt Thompson as well. So those guys really having a good run towards the end here, obviously on much fresher boots. And you'll see the difference of the tyres now. They'll be able to just take some slightly different lines here if we get a good green flag run to the end. 17 laps remaining.
Yeah, let's hope that we do. I want to see how they're going to play out. So Hamish Gallagher's all over the back here of Edward Foster trying to regain that position, lost on the restart. But he's going to have one eye on Dave Douglas, Double D in the background. Oh, he gets into Foster there, a little bump, pulls back out of it. It's very sportingly of him. And that has exposed him here to Dave Douglas, who's getting down the inside. Matty Ray wants to go with him. So this is the fresh tyres versus the old tyres. I think Thompson just went off wide there out in the background. Manages to hold it together. There is a bump into the wall in the very back as well. I think that might have been... in fact, I didn't catch who the car was. So
there was a big hit for Norman Clark a little bit further back. He had a big tank slapper. Managed to save the car though. Meanwhile, Aidan Schultz and Kay Donnelly are getting into each other a little bit further back. Aidan Schultz on those really fresh tyres is absolutely putting the pressure on. He is on a bit of a charge at the moment and trying his best. Just nudges Cade through the corner there. Kay Donnelly goes in, tries to get a little bit of payback. Doesn't work for him. Aidan Schultz makes the position there with a bit of a bump and run. And I think... So he managed to get that one through. So Aidan Schultz absolutely on a tear at the moment. Locks it up and loses out a little bit through that corner. We've got some real good battling going on. And those guys on the fresh tyres are definitely setting some okay pace, but at the moment the fastest car on track is Jaden Russell in that clean air up front. He's able to set time still on those older tyres, so still able to keep it going, and Jaden Russell is looking very strong here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely is. So we've got Russell from Foster, from Gallagher, who's just pressing. So this is where the race is at. In this pack here, is there anything the fresher tyres can do? Tell you, Matt Thompson looks like he is the one to watch. He's very much down underneath Matty Ray here. He's going to try and get that converted again on fresh tyres. So he looks like he's got some pace in the M&M livery 422 entry. And he's going to close that out. He gets close.
A little bit of contact there, just squeezes Matty Ray up into the wall a little bit, and that's going to give Stevie Dubb the chance to make a bit of a move on him. Meanwhile, Jaden Russell's pulled out a 1.1 second lead, so Russell is just on a tear at the moment. We've got 9 laps remaining here. Watch out for Thompson. He's got a good run at the moment. Him and Matty Ray are on the same strategy, so they're on the same tyres at the moment. Meanwhile, Dave Douglas is the top of the cars on tyres that have been changed in this race. Meanwhile, the Frugal group up front, who have not changed their tyres once, are still leading. So you've got Jaden Russell, Edward Foster and Hamish Gallagher at the moment.
I was going to say fresher tyres in inverted commas for Dave Douglas. They're 58 laps is when he pitted, so well over 50 laps old now. And I bet a fair few cautions thrown in between that, but Matt Thompson certainly the fastest car out on track at the moment by some 0.3 of a second each lap, so he's making his way through too as well. It's all good to have the pace and the fresh tyres, but if you can't convert it by getting past the cars in front of you, then it makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. But he's getting it done here. Can he manufacture a pass past Dave Douglas? He's going to run out of laps if he doesn't get it done this lap or next to make up the gap back to Edward Foster and Hamish Gallagher up for a podium finish.
Yeah, catching is one thing, passing is another, as a great man once said. But Thompson is trying his best at the moment, all over the back of Douglas, sticking his nose right underneath the rear end of Douglas and really pushing him. So trying his best to muscle his way up and pass at the moment. Douglas just taps the wall, gives him a chance down into the corner. Douglas is going to try and close it off.
Got a caution.
Got a caution.
Got another caution. And it looks like a big one too. It's just a car turning around there. I think that might have been Noddy Tompkins. Let's go and have a look here. Yeah, he's just lost the back end, and Norm Clark's got into him there. And around he goes, just to finish the job off. As Clark gets up high, but manages to keep it. This is just in front of our leaders too. They're just coming up to this now. There he is there, Jaden Russell. So they got lucky. Very lucky indeed.
They very much did. So, you know, that was it was unfortunate for Norman Clark, but he sort of got spun in the right direction at the end there. So it kind of almost paid off in some respects. We've still got 16 cars on the lead lap, surprisingly. That's pretty impressive considering the damage and cautions we've had tonight. Currently, the first car a lap down, I believe, is Peter Wilkinson, who's 2 laps off the lead at the moment. So I think he'll get a lucky dog, get back onto 1 lap down in 17th position. But obviously, this track is, especially in your first season, it is a bit of a rough one, and it can be a tough experience here because it is all about attrition, and it's just keeping alive is the main thing. It's sort of keeping the cars going. So we're going to get a green-white checker here. If you're new to oval racing, if you're new to NASCAR, green-white checker means that we will have the green flag come out, then we'll get a white flag, and then it will be a checker flag. So it's effectively the last run to the end here. So we won't get any more cautions after this. If there's another caution, that's it for the night. Of course, if a caution comes out on, well, if somebody has a big spin on the white flag lap, then a caution doesn't fall. So it's sort of the final sprint now. Can anybody do anything about that? I'd say Matt Thompson's going to be looking to make a move on Dave Douglas. He's going to be sitting on the inside, so he might have an opportunity on Dave Douglas here. Matty Ray's going to be looking to try and move up a couple of spots as well. So watch out for those cars on those fresh tyres. All Jaden Russell has to do, though, is get a really good start and just keep a little bit of a gap from himself and Edward Foster.
And Trev Mickelmore has taken out the cautions championship for this evening. He picked 11, and as there will be no further, he wins the door prize, which is a lovely meat tray that we will send to you in due course, Trev.
And of course, it is made of monkey.
Cannot guarantee the quality of it by the time it gets there.
It is made from monkey meat, of course, from the monkeys that were trapped in the cars during the race. So they will be less than fresh, but they're still meat nonetheless.
So, what are we expecting out of this? The dark horse has to be Thompson or Matty Ray. With 3 to go on the fresh tyres closed up, whether or not he can do anything. He's going to get you down underneath Dave Douglas. You'd have to think Hamish Gallagher's got the advantage here down underneath Edward Foster on the restart. Foster's going to have to be really on his game to make sure that he can get down there and close that out over Gallagher. Otherwise, he might drop that second position, which will get him that vital couple of points that will help him for next week's grand finale. As we go
gets
green.
Loose on the restart. That cost him, and that gives Hamish Gallagher the chance. Thompson gets a good jump on Dave Douglas as Foster got that little bit loose and caused a bit of check-up. That's going to give Thompson the opportunity to get underneath Dave Douglas. Will Matty Ray have the same opportunity? We will find out. It looks like currently...
lock up there.
It looks like Jaden Russell's got this one in the bag as the white flag... as the
white flag
comes
flies
out.
Yep.
And he just has to make it around a couple more corners. Hamish Gallagher did a perfect restart. Foster just got a little bit loose, and he's got a fast charging Thompson. Just gives him a little bit of a nudge there. Thompson just gives him a nudge. Up into P3 goes Thompson with the little bit of a bump and run, and that gives him his first P3 in his debut. But Jaden Russell takes out the win here at Martinsville in a superb fashion. Great run from Jaden Russell.
Yeah, good win there. Got the job done. And that is going to increase that gap at the top with Gallagher finishing second. Foster ultimately coming home in P6. So it is Russell, Gallagher and Thompson Your top 3 with Douglas, Raymond, Foster, Schultz getting his way back up into P7. That's a good drive there to get that car back up into the top 10. Finlay in 8th with Gary Wellman 9th. And rounding out our top 10 is Maddie Hunter.
Yeah, Foster won't be too happy about that, but a textbook bump and run there from Maddie Thompson. So that was a very well performed little run there to the flag. Those fresh tyres definitely helping him out a little bit. Dave Douglas coming home 4th. Unsurprisingly, Matty Ray, biggest gainer of the night, 23 positions in 5th place. Foster in 6th. Aidan Schultz comes home 7th after a bit of a rough night. Christopher Finlay comes home in 8th, starting from pit lane, gains 19 positions from his starting position, but starting from pit lane obviously worked his way up to there. Gary Wellman comes home 9th, despite getting caught up in that big accident, and Matty Hunter rounds out the top 10. Another good, strong top 10 finish for Matt Hunter.
Yeah, he'll be happy with that. Well, he would have obviously preferred to finish higher up, but top 10's not too bad a result given the congestion on the track and the way things can go here at Martinsville. So it still sets up an interesting final round next week because we head to Phoenix, and it's still going to be an interesting final race. It's not all over for the championship, even though the gap will widen at the top. But as we saw tonight, anything can happen.
And it usually does.
It usually does.
Is it? I might let you carry away the interviews tonight. That's all right, Stuart.
Yeah, absolutely. Just waiting for Jaden, Hamish, and for Matt Thompson to jump in to the green room, and once they do, we'll get them in and have a quick chat with them and find out how they found things this evening. Of course, we are back tomorrow with the Cup from 7:45, which we're looking forward to as well. That concludes our week. So to join us for that one.
Kansas tomorrow night for the Cup, of course.
We are indeed.
So who will be clicking their heels together, and who will be sending out the flying monkeys to get the race win?
You've been
an interesting one.
All about monkeys tonight.
Yeah, they've been coming a lot tonight for some reason.
So just still waiting on Thompson to get in here, but what we might do instead, we do have our top 2 drivers in the booth, so I might do things a little bit back to front here tonight. We'll start with a chat with Jaden Russell. Congratulations, Jaden, on the win here tonight. Not on dirt, so that's got to be probably a pleasing factor for you.
Yeah, surprised coming into the night. I didn't think I'd have that much pace, but come race time, I've got some lucky restarts there, made some spots up, and ended up running away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was certainly the restarts were things we were keeping our eye on throughout the course of the evening. Just that advantage of the probably P3 as well behind the race leader, but you did manage to work your way up to be in control of the field and executed the restarts very well.
Yeah, it was interesting. I planned on hoping to get the inside for most restarts and try and jump a spot, but I actually did a couple practice laps around the top as well and got used to doing that and managed to grab 2 spots on the outside, so they come in handy.
Of course, we're used to seeing the domination in the dirt when we do go and play in the mud in these cars, but a well-deserved win here tonight in the Thunder Series.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I enjoy coming and doing this asphalt stuff, especially on the short tracks. They're a lot of fun, good racing, so it's good.
Congratulations as always, and as usual, a bit of a shout out to the sponsors and anyone watching in the stands.
Yeah, just everyone on the car from Synergy, all the boys, Hamish, Scotty and Josh, for turning up tonight and having a run. Hamish had a really good run and was lucky to come in second behind me, so it was very good.
Fantastic there, Jaden Russell, P1 here tonight, and of course a man that we are very familiar with talking to Hamish Gallagher. One hand on the trophy, looking for back-to-back wins. You've extended that lead at the top tonight with the finish there. Hamish, a tough night tonight, particularly with no stops as well, albeit 11 caution periods, if you believe it. 11 caution periods before we got through there, but a really good restart for you on that last one to nab P2.
Yeah, the championship for 20th place obviously was thick and fast tonight. But it's a bit of frustrating. We got a little bit of a green flag run there. Got the race side by side with Edward. That was good. Like he's a good short track racer, and that was fun. But yeah, the rest of the night was just a matter of trying to find what lane you're going to get in your restart. And yeah, and there's like no tyre wear either. Pretty much, like I was still doing laps within 1 or 2 tenths of my quali time, 100 laps in. So it's not like once you're in line, it's really hard to make any passes with such a short run. So got what we got tonight. I'm just happy to be survived. It was always going to be carnage, and I'm just glad I wasn't caught up in it tonight.
Yeah, Josh Mickelmore, your teammate there, unfortunately getting caught up in a couple of instances not of his making. So that could certainly happen. And we're heading to Phoenix next week to take out or conclude the championship. So hopefully there you can have another solid run and take home back-to-back Xfinity Thunder Series championships for the team. Obviously, as usual, mate, the shout out and love to sponsors and those in the stands.
Yeah, it should be fun tomorrow, next week of the new rescan track. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. But just big thank you to the Mitch boys, you boys for the broadcast, and ANZCAR for the league.
Fantastic, Hamish. Hopefully we'll see you back here tomorrow night in the booth where we do head to the third last round, and it's obviously not the penultimate one, but the third last round of the chase, where we're heading back to Kansas as we did in the Thunder Series last week. So that's from 7:45 tomorrow night here on FGM eCast, and we look forward to that one. A driver interview as always, and we will close the night out here to say thank you to everyone who tuned in to the stream. We love your support, and thank you very much for it from FGM eCast, your E-Place for Pace. That's it tonight. We will see you tomorrow night at 7:45.